Welcome to Study Break, a recurring podcast featuring discussions of sports, music, TV, movies, and more. Today, we are happy to have John Ferrera, Brendan Murphy, Micah Hanker, and Colleen Lyons here to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles' road to Super Bowl victory. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, my name is John Ferrara, and today I'm joined by Brendan Murphy.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
So today's podcast is going to be all about the Philadelphia Eagles winning Super Bowl 52, and we're going to break down some aspects of what motivated them to get this victory.
Yeah, John, one of the biggest motivations in my mind has to be Nick Foles and his leadership. Him being able to move around the field and get out of the pocket and be able to do so many different things with the Eagles really played a key factor, and it shows with that MVP trophy. But, John, who is Nick Foles? What is it in his past that gave him this ability?
So, for those of you who don't know, Nick Foles was on the Eagles as their starting quarterback back in 2013 and did lead them to the playoffs, but unfortunately got knocked out in the first round against the New Orleans Saints. This year, he was the original backup quarterback for Carson Wentz until he got hurt against the Los Angeles Rams, and they decided for him to take over as the starting quarterback role, and fortunately it worked out for everyone, and he had a magnificent season, one of the better quarterbacks this season. So that's a brief summary of who he is on the Eagles, obviously.
What do you think gave him that motivation to really step up to the plate after Wentz got knocked down with the Rams?
I think it's because the Eagles are identified as one of those teams that nobody thinks they're ever going to be successful, and how Carson Wentz was being a leader on the team, he was really making them successful with the receivers, running backs, and all the other guys on offense, and you could just see that everyone was having fun playing, and once he went down, Nick Foles had to recover that and keep the team for being consistent on the road to victory. So I think that's really what drove him to, be the new leader on the Eagles. So
yeah, I saw in the news that Nick Foles was getting a lot of trash talk about him with his past record and how he wasn't doing so well and how they thought he really wasn't going to do great. How do you think that he transformed that into positivity in the team?
Well, a lot of people really don't know who Nick Foles is, as the person, because, before he won the Super Bowl this year, he hasn't had a lot of successes as a quarterback and as a football player. So I think what really drove him is that he saw this as an opportunity to be great. He saw this as an opportunity to be a leader, to be, the next great quarterback that the NFL has to offer. So I think he took that opportunity and really embraced it and gave it his blood, sweat, and tears, and he obviously had a great result from it. So I think that's really what drove him. And he didn't really listen to the media, I don't think. He just said, you know what, I'm going to go out there, play my game like I have been for my entire life, because that's who I am, and that's how I define myself.
Yeah, and I also saw that the team really band behind him and came to his aid as well to support him and make sure that he was always feeling good, making sure everything was going well with him.
Well, in the past, what I have been seeing about the Eagles is that there hasn't been that family bond. And for Nick Foles to have the position as the starting quarterback now, everyone needs to contribute and everyone needs to accept him as their new leader and their new quarterback, because they have big expectations, and the only way to do that is to have that special bond with them. So that's really a factor that a lot of people don't understand, is that you have to have that relation for them to be successful.
So you think because of the fact that they were banding together as one, the team was taken more seriously, or do you think the team still wasn't being taken seriously during the regular season?
Well, in the postseason, they identified themselves as the underdogs, meaning many people didn't think that they would come this far, and they were just an underrated team. That's how other teams saw them. And no, I actually don't think any team took them seriously, simply because of their past and what they did inconsistently. They couldn't win games a lot. And I think a lot of teams just didn't see that as who the Philadelphia Eagles were. But, we proved a lot of people wrong. And for those of you who don't know, in 2004, in Super Bowl 39, the Patriots did play the Eagles and beat them by a field goal. So for this Super Bowl to happen again, they would think that would be a similar result, and that it would just be the same thing as last time. So I think that's why a lot of people doubted the Eagles. Not just Nick Foles, but the whole team got media trash talk. So that played a big factor.
What I saw during the actual day of the Super Bowl was during the pregame, like, announcing and on the radio and also on television, they weren't really talking about the Eagles. They were mostly talking about Tom Brady and the Patriots and how he was going to get another ring. But it really flipped on them when they saw that the Eagles were actually, they came to play. They wanted it more. And because of the fact that they wanted more, they came out with a positive result. But since they were, in some sense, not taking that seriously, now that they have that Super Bowl under their belt, and now that they see that the other teams are like, wow, they're actually a real threat, do you think there's going to be a difference in the way that other teams prepare?
Yes, absolutely. Now teams do see them as a threat to the NFL, as one of the winning teams, and I think that's going to play a big factor. Now we're going to turn it over to Micah and Colleen for talking about them as being one of the winning teams in the NFL. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, John. That was quite a game. I still remember at the last couple seconds, I was really worried that the Eagles weren't going to win, and I thought that last pass with Tom Brady throwing to Gronkowski could have made it. It was quite a scare for me. But it was so exciting when they won. When that clock hit 0, the Eagles weren't the butt of the joke anymore. Fans were celebrating all over Philadelphia. You even heard that Jason Kelce was telling everyone how the butt of the joke went through the whole team, and they were mocked and ridiculed, but it didn't matter to them because the fans pushed them through, and all their faith, determination, and motivation got them through. Now I will bring it over to Colleen to talk about the future the Eagles will have on us.
Thanks, Micah, for having me here. I'm really excited to talk about the Eagles and as far as moving on for the future. I'm really excited as what will come on for the next season, although I do question whether Nick Foles will be the starting quarterback for next season. Nick Foles, as you know, his contract is running out of time. Next season, his contract would have ended. So does that mean that Carson Wentz, after his recovery, will still be with the Eagles? Will Nick Foles be traded? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I honestly believe that Carson Wentz will stay as long as Nick Foles, because Nick Foles was a great asset to the team, and if Nick Foles goes, he'll just retire, and there'll be no more Nick Foles. I don't know about you, Colleen, but I think this will be the end of Nick Foles if he doesn't stay with the Eagles.
I really hope Nick Foles doesn't retire, because that was a great first win for the Eagles. I was really excited as to what Nick Foles brought to this season, but just as you said, I think he probably will retire. I think this is kind of the end of his career. If that happens, Carson Wentz should be the new starting quarterback for us. Do you think he would possibly get traded to another team?
I honestly don't believe it, because he came in 7 o'clock in the morning through the whole time he was injured to go with plays with Foles and Sudfeld about what they could do to improve the team and go to the Super Bowl. And he put so much time and effort into that, I don't think they would trade him for that. And he was a great asset to the team. And I think they'll give him at least one more chance. What about you?
I definitely agree with you. As playing sports myself, I always was taught that when you were injured, you went to every single game and still to every single practice. And I think it's really important that Carson Wentz, even though he was injured, still went over the plays with Nick Foles, still was there on the sidelines cheering on his team and going over every single play with Nick Foles.
Yep, I can definitely see with all that courage, commitment, and the good willing heart that he will be in for next season. What about you?
I think Nick Foles definitely has a good heart, and as far as Carson Wentz staying as the quarterback for this team, I think he definitely has the love and support of the Eagles, and I think that he definitely shows his commitment to the Eagles as this team. So I think he's here to stay, and Carson Wentz, I really hope you are here to stay.
That sounds wonderful. This is Mighty Micah signing out.
This is Colleen signing out.
And it was great to hear from all you that are listening. Take care and have a wonderful night.
Hey, thanks, guys. We appreciate you. And a lot of other fans are wondering, what will the future hold? Will Carson Wentz and Nick Foles stay? We never know. I'd like to thank you, Brendan, for joining me on this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I'd like to thank Campus Life for letting us do this podcast on the Philadelphia Eagles, and also, obviously, congratulate the Eagles on winning Super Bowl 52. This is John Ferrera.
This is Brendan Murphy.
And we're out.
You've been listening to Study Break, brought to you by the New Media Lab and Campus Life. This episode was produced, written, edited, and hosted by John Ferrera. His co-hosts were Brendan Murphy, Micah Hanker, and Colleen Lyons. Dwayne Kohler was our sound engineer. Victoria Colbreth and Samuel Larson designed our cover art. And I'm your announcer, Andrew Henry. If you have an interest in participating in the new Media Lab, visit the Campus Life office at the Marple campus or email us at nml@mail.dccc.edu. Thanks for listening.